Welcome to Northwest Profiles, a look at people, places, and events of interest in the inland Northwest.
I like creating images of the Northwest, and that's the medium that I like working with best.
The medium that artist L.R. Montgomery likes best is woodblock printing. Montgomery is a native of Spokane, and his work reflects his love for the history and natural beauty of his hometown. Frequently, the images come from his own neighborhood and family life. While he is accomplished in various media, Montgomery is especially attracted to the bold imagery and tactile nature of woodblock printing.
Through my life, I've been involved with logging and sawmills, and the more I started doing three-dimensional sculpture, and I found that the more I played with the wood, I liked the images. The images seemed to reflect the lifestyle that I had.
The woodblock print method allows Montgomery to produce a number of identical copies, but he is not content to let them remain identical.
See, I was a commercial printer for a number of years, and we would run 20 and 50,000 impressions. You would do that every day, just run these over and over and over and over and over. So a lot of times what I will do after I have a print, I will go back and hand paint. Just about every one of my prints has some hand painting in it. Each one will be a little bit different. I have a series coming up. In fact, I have about 5 series going, like the Carousel series, and then I have Endangered Species, and then I have a Mother and Child series going on, and then I want to do A Heart of the Harvest, which will be a print about everything that's grown in Washington, Oregon, and Idaho, and how it's harvested. And so many things around the Northwest, I just will lend themselves to woodblocks. And so I probably have like 2 lifetimes of work just in this area. It's like you have all these images to create, and you only have so much time to do it. And so if you don't do it, it just eats at you until you go down and do something. In fact, I almost find myself getting almost physically ill if I'm not creating, if I'm not producing new images.
Montgomery's lifestyle has always been the focal point of his artwork. These days, much of his energy goes into his family life, so his prints and paintings are alive with the theme of family.
The images I do are of my family, my neighbors' cats, my going to the Manitou, going to Lindemann's restaurant. Those images just reflect the happiness I have in my family.
His children are often seen in his work. Now, not surprisingly, artwork is being produced by his children. His studio is always open to them.
People are afraid to let their children use the tools. They're afraid that they'll get hurt. But I bought Betsy her own set of chisels, and I said, you know where the Band-Aids are? You go ahead and use them. If you cut yourself, I said, I still cut myself. And so you probably will cut yourself, but go ahead and do it. And so she's learned to use her tools and to have respect for them. I told Betsy that she'd have to do quite a few drawings before she could work with oils. And so she did drawings just like a trooper, and transferred the drawing to the canvas and did this painting. This is her first oil painting. I get really enthusiastic about the prints, and probably the same kind of enthusiasm as my children get, and kids in general. I've brought a lot of kids into my studio, and I give them blocks, or we'll start letting them work with a print and creating the multiple images. And there's kind of just a real ecstatic excitement of seeing one after another. They will do like 10 prints, and they'll look at them and they'll go lay them all out, and they'll just go, oh, look at all of these. Sometimes people come up to me and said, well, where do images come from, and where do you get the ideas? And it's kind of like asking what's in bologna. I mean, because it's such a wide spectrum. And a lot of times I will do a piece that is, it's about something else. People will look at it and say, they'll read into it that this is what it's about. And like I did this large painting of an eagle, which was actually about Mount St. Helens. And that's what happens a lot of times with the pieces, that the piece kind of takes over, and if you just, your subconscious just draws you into it, and it just happens. And you look back and you say, well, how did I do that? People are starting to collect my work, both here in Japan and Vancouver and Austria and Italy, and we just look at all the, sometimes I look at the list, the roster of registry of where all these prints go, and you feel really, really good that somebody felt the same way about the piece as you felt about it. I have kind of a combination Western impressionistic view when I do my prints, and a lot of the colors that I use a lot of times are a lot bolder than some of the traditional Japanese prints. And I think that might be why they're collecting them, is because that it's the same kind of medium, but it's different. I feel that if you can write your name, you can do art. You can get in, you can have some form of expression. And it doesn't have to be like two-dimensional, three-dimensional. You know, it can be dance, it can be photography, it can be writing, it can be music. But if you're not exposed as a child, you won't have just a frame of reference. In fact, I've often said that if you find something that you really, really like to do when you're a little kid, to do for an occupation, you'll love it. You'll enjoy it. And that's what I'm doing now, is I'm doing the same thing I was doing when I was 12. I was spending all day in my studio painting, making these images. I really have fun doing it.
If you have a topic for Northwest Profiles, send it to KSPS TV, 3911 South Regal, Spokane, Washington, 99223. Northwest Profiles is a presentation of KSPS Public Television.